tell you how excited I am to be here today to officially launch Family Forward NC. I want to thank Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina for their tremendous leadership in this area, their support, and their partnership. It's been a true privilege to work with all of you. So during our time together this afternoon, we're going to do a few things. We're going to talk about this initiative. We're going to share a little bit about what is the research behind this, why is it good for children, why is it good for business, and we're going to actually see new research that we've done in partnership with Blue Cross with businesses across North Carolina. So we're going to learn a little bit more about what's happening in our state, what our business is doing, what are some of their motivations, and then we're actually going to do a little table work together. So you're going to actually help us launch Family Forward NC together. So as Ferris said, Family Forward NC is a business-led initiative. So what we're working to do is increase access to family-friendly workplaces by working with businesses for the coming year to help us identify what are some of the best things that we can be doing for young children and what are some of the obstacles that we need to overcome in order for businesses to support a wide range of issues. And that's one of the things that I want to make note of. There's two things I'd say are sort of a hallmark of Family Forward NC. One is that we really are going to listen, learn, and engage from small, medium, and large employers across the state. We're not here to say, this is what has to be done. We're here to say, let's talk together about what are the range of things that can be done that you can best support within your business. The other thing that's a hallmark is that we're really looking at what are the research-based policies and practices. We have evidence now of what are things businesses can do that actually improve outcomes for young children and business. So we're starting from a research perspective. And this may be one of my favorite things about Family Forward NC is it's business smart, family friendly, and future ready. And so while you may not be able to hit, the trifecta, if you go to the racetrack, we've hit the trifecta with this one. And so I'm going to spend the next few minutes telling you why Family Forward NC meets all of these things. So first, okay, if you've been here, who's been here since 8 o'clock this morning? Yes. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because you've heard this, right? That we have a tremendous skills gap in our state, that by 2020 it's estimated that 67% of jobs will require some amount of post-secondary education. We already know, if you talk to any employer in this room, I promise you they'll tell you that they've had positions open that they can't fill. So this is something that our state is already facing and is likely only to grow. And the challenge is that a majority of our children are not meeting a critical predictor for academic and higher education success. Anybody know what that is? High school graduation, yes. And what is it that our children aren't as a milestone that we know would help predict that? Third grade reading, yeah. So you've heard these numbers today. So 38% of North Carolina fourth graders scored at or above proficient in reading. Only 38%. And it's not surprising then, by the time that they're in high school, only 34% are meeting the ACT college readiness in reading. So we have a skills gap, and we clearly have a reading gap, and we know that those things are connected. So I love this quote, and it'll all come together in a minute. American business depends on a strong workforce now and in the future to compete and succeed globally. But America is facing an unprecedented workforce crisis, a large and growing shortage of skilled workers. One root of this problem is that we've underestimated the importance of the earliest years in life. Who do you think said this? Somebody said military, so you've been paying attention. It wasn't the military, but you're on the right track. It was the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, right? So we have business groups that are already fully understanding that these early years are incredibly important. And so I want to ground you in a little bit as to the why of that. So literally 2-minute crash course in brain science as to why we're paying attention to these earliest years. So, child development, not predetermined, interactive, something that is shaped by children's earliest experiences, right? So if folks heard this before, we know that the earliest years are literally shaping young children's brains. And so what I want you to learn today, the one concept, if you remember nothing else, is that brains are built and not born. And this is going to tie back into, I promise, connected to our family-friendly workplaces. And so children's earliest experiences are literally shaping their brain architecture. So every experience a baby has is forming a stronger connection in their brain. The more a connection gets used, the stronger it gets. Ones that are not used so frequently actually wind up getting pruned. So there we go, every connection. And what's amazing about this is if I had given this presentation to you, 3 months ago, I would have said 700 connections are formed a second. But brain science has now found over 1 million are formed per second in a baby. So a lot is happening there. And not all of them will last. And so it's really through having these strong early childhood experiences that we create the foundation for learning and for future academic success. And so this is one of my favorite graphs, although I find it a little frightening. A moment ago, I said that connections peak very early on in age. They're building up, right? The more experience, when I say goo and the baby says ga, and we go back and forth, those connections are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And at some point, they prune. Well, you can see here in this chart that early on for sensory and pathways, that yellow one, those connections before they start pruning are peaking at just a few months. Same with language, it peaks at less than a year, and higher cognitive function at a year, which is one of the reasons why folks are talking about these early years being so critical and connected to what happens as children grow up. So that was why we're talking about future ready. Workplaces that support parents have a direct impact on their children's health, well-being, and future academic and career achievement. And the great thing is that all of these benefits come back to business by building that strong future workforce. Okay, so that's future ready. So why do we say family friendly? And also, what's the urgency in the family friendly part of this? Well, family-friendly workplaces make business competitive in hiring and retaining qualified workers, which is especially relevant today. You can see that a quarter of our workforce of North Carolinians are aged 25 to 44, which is prime childbearing and working years. And not only that, they prioritize this. So 83% of millennials would leave their jobs in favor of those with more family care benefits. Not only that, look at some of these other statistics from across the country. 41% of working parents say a lack of family support benefits has hurt their work performance. 75% of mothers say they have passed up work opportunities, switched jobs, or quit altogether to tend to their children. And it's not just mothers. 50% of fathers have altered their career plans to tend to their children. So we know that increasingly working parents are clearly considering family-friendly offerings a priority when it comes to choosing or staying in a job. Okay, so now we're on to business smart and why that is urgent. I would make the case that everything I have said has led to being business smart and explaining the urgency of that, but it also has a real economic impact on businesses. $4.4 billion, that is the annual cost to U.S. businesses due to employee absenteeism as a result of child care issues. That's not a small number. And we also know that there's an additional cost for premature babies as another example, which when you read through the policy benefits of policies, you will see that one of the things when we provide pregnancy accommodations and other types of supports reduces the likelihood of premature birth. There's a difference of $38,000 there. So these have a real monetary impact on business. And one of the things that is important to note is that many of the policies in place today are really based on an outdated model of what a family looks like. So we no longer really have two-parent families where one parent is staying home and working in the home and one parent is working outside the home. In fact, only 6% of today's households meet that description. One of the things we're going to emphasize throughout Family Forward NC is it's not just about paid leave. Paid leave is certainly an important benefit that has tremendous benefit for children and for parents and also for business, but there's more than that. There's flex time, There's workplace accommodations such as lactation support, subsidized childcare, and many other things. And you have in your packet a booklet that outlines some of those along with what are the outcomes for children in business. So Business Smart, these are some of the things that businesses see when they employ these types of benefits. They see that they're better able to attract and retain talent. They reduce their turnover costs. They increase productivity and employee satisfaction, reduce absenteeism, reduce healthcare costs, improve the bottom line, and increase diversity. I'm going to pause for a moment. Are there any questions on all the things that I've shared so far? Okay, I'm going to keep going. So what is Family Forward NC? It's really business-led change, as we said. It's about working with businesses to look at what are the things that they can do, big and small, to bring in family-friendly workplace policies. And what we're going to do over the next year as our startup year is start with research, which you're going to hear a little bit more about in a moment. We're going to listen, learn, and engage. We will be going across the state to talk with businesses and other employers and employees about what is it that they most value, what is it that motivates them to offer these types of benefits, and what are the obstacles that might be getting in the way, so that when we get to our final product for this year, it's informed by that. We're going to be doing case studies, so we're going to showcase those who are doing amazing things like Blue Cross for their employees, as well as the benefits that they're seeing. In December, we will come out then with a guide that is informed by all of these things about how businesses can begin to actually implement many of the policies that we'll be talking about. And recognition. We will be recognizing those who are doing amazing things with their family-friendly policies through our website and through other means to really raise attention and call attention to what's happening.